Okay, I'm going to be making a variation of this, and I'll have the recipe at my website. I just had a root canal, so this is a soft foods dish. Yeah, I'm going to be eating soft foods for the next month. So I have some tofu I needed to use up. This is a Chinese recipe, so let me just go ahead and get started. The recipe calls for 1 clove of garlic minced. So let's go ahead and work on that. I used to make this a lot in the 1990s, and I always used ground beef instead of pork. But I just happened to have some ground pork. The Chinese version actually uses pork, so let's try it with pork and let's see if I like it better. Though I think I'll be making it with ground beef. The pork is kind of fattening, so I'm going to see if I can... the only place around here where I could find pure ground pork was Whole Foods, and they had this really fattening version. I'm going to see if I can kind of like cook some of the fat out. I mean, I do need to eat soft food, but I don't necessarily have to eat fattening food, you know. But this is a pretty tasty dish. I'm taking the skin off of the garlic right now. Okay, let's see. So let's go ahead and mince this. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty soft dish because it's going to have cubed tofu in it with just a little bit of meat. And I'm eating on the right side of my mouth because the root canal was on the left side. So let me go ahead and mince the garlic. And then when I'm done with that, I'll stick it over there, and then I'll work on cubing the tofu. Okay, that's pretty minced. And let's go ahead and stick that in this container over here for later. I like to get all my ingredients out ahead of time so that in the cooking process it goes smooth and I don't have to look all over for ingredients. Like I already got the cornstarch with water ready for the end of the recipe. I got the amount of, it calls for a ½ cup of ground pork. I have that right over here. I already made the chicken stock or soup stock right here. So the right amount, which is 3/4 of a cup. So I'm getting everything ready. Now the recipe calls for hot black bean sauce. That seems to be a hard item to find, and I don't really like spicy food anyways. So I'm going to be substituting with black bean sauce with garlic, which I think will be just fine. Okay, now let's go ahead and cut up the tofu into, I would say into, what they say, 1/2-inch cubes. Yeah, 1/2-inch cubes would be good. We'll go about 1/2-inch cubes. Yeah. The tofu is the reason this is going to work out really good for my root canal, because this is soft, right? I have to avoid the crunchies. Like what I've been doing is I have been using a blender because I love my nuts. I've been using a blender so I can, and I've made like I've blended my nuts and so that they kind of get really gooey, and then I throw them on top of my breakfast in the morning. So this is about a half. You can also make 1-inch cubes if you want. The recipe says 1/2-inch cubes, but you can do 1-inch cubes too if you like firmer tofu. This is firm tofu, but yeah, I'm going to go 1-inch simply because the less chewing I mean 1/2-inch, because the less chewing I do, the better right now. Yeah, this will be good. I have a couple of, tofu's soft as it is, so it's not really a super big deal if I, so that'll work. All right, so there's the tofu. Okay. I'm going to be using the Chinese soy sauce. My mother calls anything besides Kikkoman Chinese soy sauce. She's no longer with us, but let me just go ahead and bring the camera over to the cooking area and bring all these ingredients over there. Okay, it says to use a wok. I've never used a wok. I just use a 12-inch skillet in place of a wok. We're going to go ahead and heat up the pan. And when it gets warm, then I'll add the rest of the ingredients. let's go ahead and add, it says, tablespoon of oil. Yeah, that sounds about right. I may cut it back because the meat is very fattening. I'm going to try to drain some of the fat out of the meat too. Let's see. And that's okay. It's about a tablespoon of oil right there. This is canola oil. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and spread this around. Okay, now this is a case where I do not want to burn the oil because I don't want it to get crispy. I want it to stay soft. My goal is to have a nice mushy dish. Actually, I'm going to kind of treat it like Italian cooking, you know. We'll cook it just enough to cook it, and once, actually, I think I'm just going to go ahead and throw in the meat right now. That'll ensure that that happens. Yeah, that's what they say to do anyway. So here's the, you can see that's pretty fattening. That's the ground pork. Okay. I'm going to see if I can drain some of this oil before I put in the rest of the ingredients. So now what we're going to do is add oil, garlic, and ground pork. Stir fry the pork on high heat until done, about 2 minutes. Let's see if I can get it's not very much meat, so I guess if I get some fat, it won't be the end of the world. The fat kind of makes the dish taste good. The Asians don't use a lot of meat in their cooking. They use it more like a spice, which is fine because that's the way I was raised. You know? I love the Asian food. So the Japanese are more that way than the Chinese, but still the Chinese are kind of the same way. Over in the Asian countries, when they make their dishes, it's going to be about they say to do this for 2 minutes or until the meat is cooked. So I'm trying to keep everything soft here. This recipe is designed to be soft, so I think I might be able to drain a little bit of this fat out, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to put a cover on this and then kind of tip it over the sink and see if I can get some of this fat. You know what? It doesn't look like, I don't know. Let's see. I'll try. Okay, let me try draining some of the fat out. Actually, I have a better idea. This will get the fat out. This isn't in the recipe, by the way. This is just something I'm doing. You don't want to burn yourself. You say, this isn't in the... Yeah, I just don't want to have a bunch of fat, you know. I would have got a leaner pork if they sold it, but Whole Foods only had this really fattening version. Yeah, as you can see, it's all going into the paper towels. It's going to taste like paper towels. Nah, it won't. It won't. It'll be good. See, I'm absorbing all the fat. That's good enough. Let me get the garbage can over here. So you don't want to cook the paper. No, I'm not going to. I'm taking it out right now. go, into the garbage can. There. Oh no, I burnt it. I don't want to be doing that. Okay, let's lower the heat. That's the only bad thing about doing this, but I got to keep this soft now. Okay, now what's the next step? Okay, add hot bean paste, soy sauce. Let's put the soup stock in right now. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, that way it'll kind of stop the cooking. Okay, and then we're going to put in hot bean paste, about 2 teaspoons. The recipe actually says to use something really hot, but I bought this at the Asian store. It's black bean paste with garlic. This is very similar to what I used in the early 1990s, and I loved it. Yeah, so, all right. I don't want to burn myself. Okay, that's good enough. So, oddly enough, I can't find hot bean paste at the regular grocery stores around here. Or maybe I don't like it. I like this, the black bean with garlic. So I'm going to modify the recipe. Okay, soy sauce. I'm going to use the Chinese soy sauce. About a tablespoon. That's this one right here. That's good enough. I don't like too much salt. There, okay, that's good. Okay. And soup stock. And now the tofu. So we got the hot bean paste, the soy sauce. I'm going to omit the salt. You know what? It doesn't use, the recipe doesn't use that much salt. So let's just, the recipe says 1/4 teaspoon salt. I'm just going to do like this. There, that's it. Rather undersalt than oversalt. Okay, go ahead and add the tofu now. There we go. Yeah, I gotta cook this tofu, so. Alright, now, cover, let's go ahead and kind of mix it around though. Get everything blended here. This would be perfect for my root canal therapy here. Taking care of myself, getting my nutrition, eating a delicious, soft food dish here. Okay, now we need to cover. I'm going to find something to put that in. Okay. Cover, bring to a boil. Go ahead. And then cook gently for 2 minutes. So when it gets to a boil, I'll turn the camera back on. I would say it's starting to boil now. Okay, let's move this over here. I'm going to need something to stir fry with. Let's see if it'll work. Kind of mix this around here. Okay. All right. Thicken with quartz. We're going to kind of lower the heat a bit. About 2 more minutes so we can get the flavors into the tofu. Yeah, I like this. Cook gently. I'm going to put the heat up just a bit. for 2 minutes. Let's get the flavors melded with the tofu. Okay, that's about right. Let's go ahead and put in the cornstarch and water mixture. I already prepared this ahead of time. Let me just kind of twirl it around here. Make sure it blends in well and doesn't clump when it goes in here. I'm going to kind of dribble it to ensure that it does that, kind of like going around like this. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull this around here. We're going to thicken it with the cornstarch and water mixture. I made this a lot in the early 1990s. Yeah, I cooked a lot of Asian cuisine in the 1990s because I love Asian food. Yep. I have to do both Chinese and Japanese. This is Chinese. Okay, it's getting pretty thick there. Okay, so now we're ready for the next step. Okay, add green onions and sesame seed oil. I have some green onions. It says to use 1 green onion chopped. I just have some frozen pre-chopped here. Let's go ahead and throw that in there. This will be soft enough for me. Yeah. Want a little bit more. The green onions will give it a nice flavor. Okay. And then we'll throw in 1 teaspoon of sesame seed oil. I can kind of guesstimate on this. Let's go ahead and lower the heat. About 1 teaspoon. Just kind of dribble it a little bit. That's good. And then we're done. And I just need to combine the ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off. And then I'll go ahead and eat it from the right side of my mouth. But I know this is good. I made this in the 1990s, but I'm not sure what my verdict is on using pork as the recipe calls for. I modified it and used ground beef. So I'll give you my verdict. Get a good picture of that. And there it is. Okay, there it is. I need to let it cool off. You don't want to be eating super hot or super cold food with a fresh root canal. So let's just kind of, let it cool off, and then I will let you know. Okay, let's try it. I'll be eating it on the right side of my mouth. Let's see here. I'll let it cool off a bit. It's good. It's also very good with ground beef. Though if you make it with ground beef, that's not really authentic Chinese. It's more Japanese style. But sometimes I'll add a Japanese flair to my Chinese food. I like it. It's good. I'll probably be eating this with some steamed white rice and some short grain rice, and maybe some steamed vegetables. So that's how I plan on eating it. Here's the the rice there. So yeah, usually with my Asian dishes, I like to have like a side of just fresh steamed rice, and mix. That's what I like to do. And then maybe some steamed vegetables. That'd be perfect for my root canal diet. So, good.